Start recording, start streaming. Hey, can you guys hear me okay? Hopefully I'm streaming. It's good to see 3 people in the chat, or maybe 4. I'm gonna send out some push notifications. Maybe some more people will join. And if they don't, it's fine. Today's gonna be super chill. Hopefully you guys can hear me talking. Say something in the chat. How have you guys been? How's it going? Have you guys been busy this week? Because I swear, I feel like this week's been super. Hey, Control C. I feel like this week, for me at least, has been absolutely crazy. I feel like it's been like one day to the next, and it's just been like an entire month. So I don't know. How have you guys been doing? Have you guys been doing any sort of blockchain tracing stuff? If you haven't, it's fine. Like, we're going to talk about the most simplest blockchain tracing stuff today ever. Because I took a step back last week and I was like, holy shit, the tornado cash stuff was a lot. Let's just pause the brakes and start absolutely super, super simple, right? And so what we're actually going to be doing today is going into this like project that I think seems kind of sus. Um, and we can assess together whether or not we think it's sus. I'm going to go ahead and throw this project into the chat, and you guys can check it out and see what you guys find. But I was actually taking a look at this the other night, and it looks like a great project. Like I would call it 10 out of 10 project. Tuning in from the golf course. What kind of freaking life are you living? That's amazing. Enjoy. Have fun playing golf and trying to like learn about tracing shit on chain. Yeah, we're going to be talking about a lot of really kind of more simple concepts today because I want to kind of take it back a bit. Now, let's get started with things. When you first start assessing a project, the first question is like, well, is this project legit, right? Do I want to get into it? And so social nouns, it's a nouns derivative project. Does everyone here know what nouns is, by the way? Hopefully, I assume you do. So nouns is a project. It's pretty. Let's actually go on OpenSea and check it out. No, explain. Okay, let me go ahead and explain. Wow. Um, I feel like most people know what Nouns is, but let's go ahead and take a look at them. So Nouns is a super closed off community. They've got about like, what is it? Like 700 some odd NFTs out there, and they are an extremely active ecosystem. I want to say a lot of the people that participate in Nouns are also people that mainly also participate in the social, sort of social blockchain aspect of crypto, right? But yeah, nouns people have lots of different crazy ideas. They have lots of different styles of different tests of how they're doing kind of tokenomics now, etc. Like I am clearly not doing a good job of explaining what nouns is, but we should just go ahead and go on their website so you guys can get an understanding of it. But TLDR, the nouns community is very strong, very tight knit. If you go on their Discord, which by the way I can't log into now, or else we would go into Discord, we could check out what it is that they're doing. But basically, they do all sorts of different funding rounds. I think it's like every other week or so, where you can get funding for various different nouns derivative projects, etc. Right? And it's pretty cool. You can see here that we can actually bid on whatever this noun is that's going to come out eventually. Um, and a noun comes out, by the way, every single day. I probably should have mentioned that from the get-go. So a new noun comes out every single day. And as you can see here, nouns are not exactly cheap, right? They're trading now at 31 ETH. With nouns DAO, we'd have to actually see what this auction is going to look like. And in fact, we can actually go back to the last auction that took place. And look here, the winning bid was 26 ETH. So this is no joke. Let's go take a look at this on Etherscan because this is kind of interesting the way that they finalize sort of an auction, right? So the way a settlement looks like, there's a couple of different things that happen during a settlement. And here we can see that the actual NFT is minted, moved to the treasury, and once it's the NFT is it's minted and moved to the treasury, and there it's held on auction, right? And then when someone wins the auction, in order to open up the next auction, someone needs to come in basically and settle it, right? And say, okay, I'm going to settle the auction and then set up the next one. And that's basically what's happening in this transaction. So in order to set up this auction, this next auction, what someone has to do is they have to make sure that that NFT gets transferred to the rightful winner of the bid, and then they go ahead and mint that new NFT. Now, that can be costly at times when gas isn't exactly cheap. And so that's how Nouns kind of operates. So okay, we kind of know what Nouns is. Nouns is a super prolific project. Honestly, if you look up Nouns DAO, you'll see that they do a lot of different crazy stuff. In fact, let's just go ahead and Google it. But they have all sorts of different ideas of what's going on. Like so they, as you can see here, they've got a lot of different proposals out right now, and they're extremely active, right? And that's the cool part about Nouns is that it's probably one of the most active DAOs that exists out there, right? And they do all sorts of crazy stuff, right? Like that they want sunglasses in the marketplace, or like that one's very simple, right? But there's some more crazy ones, right? Now it's down in Korea sailing PR campaign. Like, what is that? And so, anyways, we can go ahead and click on here. We can see who's voting for or against. We can see how many like what exactly the proposal was, right? And it looks like they wanted to sail 40 kilometers on whatever these sailboats are in Nouns down themed sailboats. And this is what I'm talking about. They're kind of a little wild, like they're kind of really out there in terms of what they like to do as a DAO. But as you can see here, they're like super legit. Hey, Brian. Um, Interesting, different font colors. So, anyways, or chat colors rather. Please update to fix presence bug. Okay, that's good to know. Thank you, Brian. Apparently, if you're on mobile, fix test flight, or update it at least. But anyways, as you can see here, these guys go into painstaking detail about how it is that they're planning to do the roadmap and what their budget is for it, right? Like, I would want to join this party, right? This seems really fun. And anyways, they're going to do prizes, it looks like, and it looks like they're going to have two different teams. And then, I mean, this is just one of many proposals, right? Like, let's look at one that, let's look at some more recent ones, right? So, I mean, the more recent ones, by the way, it's probably going to be some collab, right? And no one's voted on this one yet, right? But you have to basically write up overviews. You have to talk about what it is you're going to do, all sorts of stuff. So this is, as I said before, incredibly active DAO. We get the point. Like, it looks like this is some maybe art collapsing. I don't know. Let's read the TLDR. Honestly, this TLDR is not a TLDR in my book. This is way too long of a TLDR. I feel like everyone here in this chat would probably agree that like I can't even read this, but it looks like they want to do some physical drop. I don't even understand what this means. I I feel like it's like throwing a word salad of like weird consulting terms that I don't know what they mean. Yeah, but it seems like maybe art. I don't know. It looks like it's art. Yeah, what does it say? Yeah, GPT is the new TLDR. Honestly, so true. Swear to effing God, this is GPT. I won't lie, I use ChatGPT for work all the time. But like, I swear to God, you gotta proofread that shit, because otherwise it sounds literally like some fucking, I don't know, some really wordy person decided to write something like, and it just doesn't sound like a human being. Anyways, what are you on to? You were given a noun as a gift? Whoa, wow. Oh, wow, that's kind of cool. Yes, we'll talk about customizations in just a second, actually. So, here we can look at like nouns, like all the different traits of nouns. It's pretty fun, right? And in fact, actually, here, like we can click around on all this stuff and we can look at all these different traits. And then we can go to the playground. And here you could actually generate all different types of nouns, basically you generate, like, you can do all sorts of fun stuff, like, oh, let's say I want a warm background, I want like a dark brown body, accessory as an axe, like all this sort of shit, right? And then you can go ahead and generate it, right? And you can get all sorts of stuff here. Now, that's pretty cool, that you've got a noun as a gift. Nouns are pretty fun. I don't know, 0x5D, if you're super involved with the nouns community, but I'd be super interested in what your take is and whether or not did it any justice. So yes, this is not little nouns, Brian. We're talking about normal nouns right now. I'm like setting everyone up for this. So we got the nouns project basically down. And 0x5D, feel free to add in the chat if you want to add more about like what the hell nouns are and if I did a total just justice, because I'm pretty sure I did. Now, let's move on to social nouns, because Brian, that's basically to your point, is what the fuck are all these other projects? I don't even know. I don't know. So social nouns was one that I was told by someone about. And oh wow, it looks literally like the Nouns DAO page. Like this is the Nouns DAO page, right? Let's go back to the main website. Oh wow, we can bid on it. Like this looks literally like the same shit, right? Except for the social nouns, there are some social aspects to it. Oh wow, it's got a lens head, right? Oh wow, it's like designed like Wi-Fi. I don't know, man. So we can go to the playground and we can generate all this different stuff, and we can see there's a hashtag, there's a bird for Twitter, all sorts of stuff. This is some nouns derivative project. Now, what's interesting here is we can already from the outset see how much this project has already raised. So in their treasury, they have about 15 ETH, right? And actually, we can go click on it and it'll take us to Etherscan where we'll actually be able to read what their net worth is, which is kind of cool. Now, when assessing whether or not a project is a worthwhile investment, 9 times out of 10, you're just going to probably ape it and not even listen to whatever the hell I'm talking about right now. But if you have the time and you're like super late to the game on a project and you're like, I don't know if I want to get into this, but like now it's like super cheap and maybe I want to because my friends told me about it, this is the route I would probably take, right? And so we're looking at social nouns here. We don't even know what the hell this is, but let's say someone told us today, oh my God, this is a great investment, right? So we'd want to read up more on it. And of course, we're going to go here and see what exactly is going on with this, right? And so unfortunately, their website doesn't really tell us much, right? It says it's inspired, right? And it says all proceeds go to 100% to the treasury, right? And here's a summary of it, right? So apparently it's some like publicly owned imagery. I don't know. There are all these different partners. There are these daily auctions, which by the way, we'll talk more about in a bit. But we already saw that basically this is a ripoff of nouns where they have daily auctions all the time. This is just a copy paste of that. And each auction can be settled, I think, within 8 hours, and that's the idea of it. Um, why are all NFTs base 64? I don't know. I think that's something I would ask ChatGPT. But yeah, so anyways, their DAO, basically their DAO, the idea of the DAO is though is that you can govern it, right? Blah, blah, blah. There's all this other stuff. There are all these rewards, there's all this other stuff going on. TLDR though, the idea of this is, okay, we want to create a derivative noun project where we get control over this DAO and it's going to be maybe more social media based, right? So let's actually go look at what the DAO has voted on. What has gone on with this DAO? Well, we see here there's a test proposal. Transfer 0.1 ETH to the treasury. Great. That great. Okay, I'm glad this went through. I'm very happy for them that this went through. This literally means nothing now. Okay, now there's another proposal. And this proposal took place in December. And by the way, let's go back to that first proposal. So this first proposal, right? And just note who proposed it, right? It was initiated on October 19th of 2022, right? And just in October 2022. This referral bonus system, which we'll read a bit more, looks like it was proposed in December, right? And the summary is okay, we want to, I don't know, we want a 10% reward, some referral thing. Anyways, they just want to make money on this. It looks like we propose funding 1.5 each to support deliveries ability to be split. Oh, okay. Okay, so we should probably read this one through a bit. And there's a reason I want us to read this through. So because we'll find out a little bit later when we start looking at the contracts here, there's some weird stuff happening here. There's a reason I'd want to talk about this, and like I haven't dug fully into this, but it's yeah, super bizarro. Yeah, Ryan, I used to do hot yoga all the time. I effing love hot yoga. It is addictive. It's like a little bit of a drug. But I haven't found a place here yet. Um, Anyways, decentralized marketing. Anyways, basically, 10% of the winning bid goes to the referee, right? And that's something pretty important to mention because this can also probably be gamed, right? Oh yeah, it's definitely a super drug. Um, so let's see. Let's get back here. Next one, though, is this Web3 conference thing, right? And what is going on here? So this was done all the way in March of 2023. So we've now had how many months? 3 months in between, like our first vote. And here it looks like they want to go to a conference and they want probably, I don't even know what the hell they're asking for. It looks like they want 1 ETH. This is horribly written, by the way, because at least NounsDAO, like, let's give them credit where credit's due. Like, at least NounsDAO, like their TLDRs might be written by ChatGPT, but at least they have TLDRs. I like, come on, man. I don't think any of us had time to read through this shit. Okay, we totally get it, right? Sweet. Okay, so let's go to let's start analyzing this. Okay, so we see here that the DAO has had 3 different proposals, and we see here that in each of these different ones, right, that there are very few participants. Literally, there's like 2 and 0 against. I don't know why it was defeated, but it was. We can dig into why that is, right? This referral system. Okay, maybe there are 19 different participants, 19 different votes, right? Not necessarily 19 different participants, 19 different votes. And therefore, right, if we think about votes, right, if I hold 14 of these NFTs, well, I'd be, right? I'd be enough to get a quorum, right? And by the way, a quorum right now is, I want to say it's 15 or 4, actually it's 14 votes. So here with 19, we're totally fine, right? And if I hold all those 19s, boom, I can actually end up creating a quorum, which is kind of interesting. And let's keep that in mind, actually. And we're actually going to see that down the line when we start taking a look at the smart contract for all of this stuff, because that's where it's really going to get interesting. Okay, so we see here there are all these different proposals. We also see that we see here that it says that there are a minimum of 2 social nouns. You have to have them in order to submit a proposal. Now, let's go back to how do we actually even get a noun, right? If we go to try to bid on a noun, I know, Brian, I really want to be a crypto scammer. But if we go to try to buy or like bid on a noun, we could probably get a social noun, right? They're relatively cheap. I think the bids start out similar with NounsDAO at 0 ETH, right? So they're relatively cheap. So you need 2 of these in order to do anything. But here's the problem, right? And it's the same problem as I talked about beforehand. In order for you to actually get that social noun, you have to basically set up the minting of the next one. And it's pretty costly, and no one wants to really bother doing it. And actually, if we go back in time here, what we'll find is that this project was pretty dead, right? We see that we've already flipped back. Whoa, February. Okay, we go from February 22nd, right, to March 3rd, to March 12th. Like, literally, no one's to May 10th. Like, no one's participating in this shit. Like, what the fuck happened in April? Who knows? I don't know, Brian. That's you know, I can have all the intent I want of returning the money, but I also I read from all of that jail, and I think I'm good without jail. Um, yeah, yeah. I don't want to scam people, but I'm happy to tell you what a scam looks like. Anyways, but so here, right? We've got okay. So we kind of know what's going on here. Now let's go into the analysis portion of this, because I think this is where things are going to kind of gritty, and this is where we're going to want to pull up a couple different tools to basically figure out what the hell we're doing. Um, I don't know what the hell Lil Dicky's jail music video is, but I probably live there. I feel like that's probably my vibe, just based on that artist. That's just yeah. I feel like I want to Google it, but I also don't want to Google it because I have no idea what the fuck this is, Brian. So could be good, could be bad, who knows? So okay, cool. Let's cycle over though to the social media shit. So we don't really read anything much out of this. We kind of see that stuff's going on. We kind of see some stuff in Etherscan. Etherscan, just looking at the raw crap on there, it's a lot. I don't recommend anyone do it. Like, it's just there's a lot happening here, and it's not fun. Um, but what we can do is we can take a look on Twitter. And if you have access to Discord, right, you can access their Discord and check it out. And in all honesty, I'd be super curious what you guys find on their Discord, because we're totally skipping over the analysis of Discord today because I can't log in. Um, anyways, we see here that there are 1,000 some odd followers, right? It seems like they're following 1,000 people, but it seems like it's relatively active. The last time they posted was May 29th. That's 2 days ago, right? It seems like they're kind of legit, right? So, okay, cool. Like, I don't know. Maybe this actually isn't what I think it is, right? Maybe I'm totally wrong. And one, okay, so, okay, remember when we were talking about the votes, right? About quorum, we needed 14, right? We need a minimum of 2 in order to step a vote, blah, 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 right? Let's actually take a look at that holder distribution. And one way we can do that, obviously, right, is on Etherscan, right? We can take a look at holders here, and we can get a relatively good breakdown as to who's a holder, right? And so here we can pretty easily find out, right, that this starglasses.eth owns 27 of these things. Automatically, anytime Glasses decides to vote on shit, they're going to have quorum, right? And they can push through whatever the fuck they want. That's a lot. That's pretty rough. And then we've got these other rando people, right? Like Nounlit315. We have this Gnosis Safe, it looks like, Tuomas Pig. We have all these other people that are pretty big holders, right? But there are only 84 token holders in total, right? And I forgot how many tokens there are, but yeah, it's like, I think that there may be like, yeah, 192. So there aren't even that many out there, right? But of course, you have a lot of concentration up here. And glasses.eth kind of bothered me because glasses holds a lot. The other thing about glasses too is that, let's refresh this page actually, is glasses just was the last winner of this bid. And if you go back a couple times over, you'll actually find that, whoa, glasses also was the winner back in February, right? And glasses like continuously will like come back. And unfortunately, like glasses, like, I don't know. I feel like this is too like I get it that they're trying to like have a cutesy sort of nouns name, but like it's very noteworthy. Like I don't know, I wouldn't miss this. Okay, so who the hell is Glasses? Are they actually a part of the project? Here is my current theory and what I'm trying to like lead you guys down the path of. The question is this project actually decentralized? Is the DAO actually a DAO, or is it just an autonomous organization controlled by one individual? Because that's what my current thought is, right? Like, because this doesn't seem decentralized to me right now. If for example, if glasses.eth came in and decided, fuck it, I want to grant myself the entire treasury, right? And cool, I've got my 14 vote quorum. I have my 2 social nouns, right, that I can put up to do the proposal. I can vote myself the quorum, boom, I can take all the money, right? And that's a little concerning. And we'll spend some time, maybe a little bit later, if we've got time to actually analyze the smart contract just to see whether or not that's even possible, right? But the first question is how many of these NFTs does glasses.eth own? And is glasses.eth even like, how involved are they in this project? Are they the project? Are they the operators of the project? Right? Okay, so, okay, we're analyzing this now, so let's take a look at glasses.eth. Let's just get into this, right? And I'm gonna leave this tab open right here where we've got all the different usernames here of folders. And here we have glasses.eth. And what I'm going to go ahead and do, and this is what I really recommend you just go ahead and always do, is go on OpenSea and just see what kind of other NFTs they hold. And this is, I would say this for like, any person that holds NFTs, chances are they hold other NFTs. Now, this is when I kind of knew that I really wanted to talk about this today, was when I was taking a look at this last night, because what was really bizarre was, first off, social noun number 5, right? It's like, I am a social noun. No shit, Sherlock. Okay, we see social nouns. Like, this guy is all about the effing social nouns. We get it. But what's interesting, let's take a look at all this crap that they had, and I'll make it a little bit easier for us to just take a look at. But here, for example, they own socialnouns.bit. So bit.bit is like, from my understanding, they're like a DID provider, right? So they're, okay, they own socialnouns.bit, right? So I don't, that's pretty sus. Okay, this sounds like they're an operator of the project, right? And okay, they own all these other NNS. Can someone tell me what the hell an NNS is? Because like they definitely bought some good nouns name service. Okay, this is some sort of nouns shit, right? But like, okay, they bought this crap. So we have Satoshi, we have Google. Okay, this guy is just sniping out domains, and like I have a lot of respect for this. Like I no hate on this guy. But one thing sticks out here immediately, right? And that's their freaking user handle. It's Social Nouns 5, right? We should be seeing Social Noun 5 in this lineup. I don't see it. I just see some weird, what the hell are these even? Like, they're the ugliest looking things. Anyways, like, we only see 3 social nouns in here, and none of them are social noun number 5. So where is social noun number 5? And like, where is it sitting? Is that maybe another address that our glasses.eth owns, right? And yeah, we can find that out pretty effing fast. So let's go ahead and do that. And the easiest way I would say, there are a couple different ways of doing it, but one is just by opening up social nouns, right? And just scrolling down and like finding social noun number 5, right? So social noun number 5. There are a couple other ways of doing it. And in fact, this is not the way I actually want to teach you guys because it's kind of cheating. In fact, one way that I wanted to spend some time teaching you guys today is, let's say we see an icon, right? For example, you see my NFT icon right here. Thank God it looks like I have very little ETH in that address. But you see this icon here. If you know, right, and this is where I really wish Google were a lot better at, if you know what NFT project that is, you can find out what that user's handle is literally by that profile picture alone. And this is obvious for a lot of people that are already involved in crypto and know how to like stalk people who have NFTs. But for those of people on this live stream that don't, this is something that's pretty novel and it's kind of scary. So here, let's go take a look at what social noun number 5 looks like, right? Social noun number 5 should look like, what is it? A hashtag with some pink glasses and I don't know, the weird little like pin. So we should look for that, right? And we should look for that based in the social nouns in the social nouns project. So let's go here, social noun 5, right? I thought I clicked on the project. Sorry, guys. Let's go here. Let's look at the project. And usually what you can do is you can filter by the different types of typologies of this thing, right? Like by various different traits. Unfortunately, we can't do that here, and my whole entire plan failed. So we're just going to look up social noun number 5, right? And hopefully it will come back to us. But social noun number 5 should be, oh my Jesus, is it going to be this tough, difficult to find social noun 5? This was supposed to be the easy part of the exercise, I swear, guys. Um, so here we can also just create a lineup here, and there are only 100 some of them, right? So we should get through the 5 one really fast. And so here, I'll find you guys another case study of like when to do the NFT stalking stuff, because we can definitely spend some time doing that. And maybe even in this whole example. Oh, interesting. Social Noun 5 routed to glasses.eth, but it's not in their OpenSea holdings. That's weird. And remember, this is one like really useful thing to note is that OpenSea, like you can hide your NFTs. And that's kind of sketch because why the hell is this guy literally hiding the NFT that he has as his profile picture? Like, come on, bro. Like, you're advertising yourself as social noun 5. You have the damn thing everywhere, right? And this is actually where I'm a big fan of Rarible. I effing love Rarible. I think Rarible's fantastic because they don't allow you, or a lot of people, it's not that they don't allow you, but most people forget that it exists. And so because of that, they forget to hide their NFTs from being displayed on there. And so that's why I love Rarible. And so, oh wow, wow! Here we see suddenly this guy doesn't just only own 30 social nouns. Suddenly, we actually see all of his backs, right? We see all 27 of these things, right? And we see that he owns other stuff too, right? He's got these other social nouns in here, right? But and social noun number 5 is in here as well. But here we can see that he also has lens, right? Which is interesting. Sorry if you mentioned already the registered social on nouns name service before contract. We're going to talk about that in a bit. Yeah, Control C. That's actually a very good point. So what Control C is basically saying in here is they're saying, well, wait a second, they got this .bit registration, right? Where they got this DID thing. Here, let's actually take a look at it. Control C is basically saying, when did they get this NFT, right? Did they, like, when did they actually mint this thing? And this was minted on October 26, 2022. Now, as we already know from digging through this whole thing, right? We know that they were already doing DAO bids, right, around that point in time. Because remember, the first like DAO proposal that they were doing, I think the test proposal, it ended on October 19th, right? And so we already kind of know that there's something going on here, right? We know that this person we know already that social nouns existed. So this person could have conceivably sniped this. Let's leave it at they could have sniped it for now. Okay, so this guy clearly owns a ton of nouns, and he's also social nouns, and he's also hiding them, which is weird. Okay, that's fine. Let's actually go, and this is where I like why I wanted to really dig into this one today, is let's go to that next top holder. So we already know glasses.eth owns a ton of them. And by the way, we'll take a look at the additional nouns that get minted every 10th noun that social noun that gets minted. One of the nouns is actually sent off to the project, I guess, holders or whatever have you. And so here, but we'll take a look at that later because I don't want to get too distracted on that. I want to take a look at this though first. And this here is the second top address, like a noun holder, right? And here we already kind of see that it's a contract, right? We already know that from Etherscan. And let's go ahead and take a look at what is this contract. And I think, right? Yep. Okay. So we see here that the contract creator here is a particular individual, right? It's Kekber, right? Wait a second. Didn't we see Kekber a couple different times? I feel like we saw that name a couple different times in those stupid DAO proposals. Oh, right. Kekber was the one that did the test proposal, right? Oh, also we can see the nouns that he was delegated, right? We can also see that Kekber was the one who proposed the first couple of ones. Interesting. So Kekber deployed this Gnosis safe. And why am I saying it's a Gnosis safe? Well, it's because it says safe multi-sig. But if we take a look at the contract, we can see that it's a Gnosis safe proxy, right? And that's without all of the metadoc crap that I have up here. You could easily figure that out. Now, remember, one of the first things we talked about when I started this stream is the cool part about looking at Gnosis safes, right, is that you can actually read who's a signer on that safe, right? And all we have to do here is click read as proxy, right? And we can just click get owners. We can query that, and boom, we get the owners back, right? And here, I'm going to stuff these owners in here if you guys want to take a look and see who these people are, right? And then also I'll stuff this Etherscan link in here if you guys want to take a look. Should have been doing that the whole time, but totally forgot. But here, let's go ahead and start taking a look at some of this stuff, right? And I would not be surprised, right, that if some of these turn out to be some of our friends that we've kind of already seen along the way. So here, okay, they've received some ETH from someplace. Like we can dig into that, but I kind of want to look actually what their NFT transfers look like, right? And it looks like, oh, wow, this user actually received a social noun directly from the Gnosis safe, right? And let's actually look at that transaction because it looks like, oh, wow, interesting. So Kekber, our buddy Kekber, who seems to be sending off these NFTs, or seems to be participating in a lot of these project proposals, right? Deployed this safe, right? He seems to be distributing these tokens now from the safe to several different addresses. That's a little strange. There could be a lot of different reasons for it. A plausible reason for that would be, well, I can't, like, he might say, oh, I care about my safety, and like, I think it's better for the safety of the project for all these NFTs to be distributed. There could be various other different reasons for that, right? And we'd want to actually dig into each and every one of these to actually see what the hell is going on. But for now, we know that this address is one of the signers on that multi-sig, right? And if we take a look at the transactions here, there's some interesting stuff going on, right? So it looks like they received a bit of money, right? And then they sent it basically, as they sent it out then, I don't know, 70 some odd days later. but it doesn't look like they did much else, right? Oh, besides receiving 1 ETH from the Nouns DAO executor. I wonder why they received 1 ETH, right? Did they do anything special for that, right? I don't know, right? Let's actually see what happened. And here, I would say that let's go back to the proposals real quick, because it could be that this 1.5 was put aside, right? Remember, for the referral stuff? This could be the 1.5 that was put aside, right? And maybe that's it. Maybe. I don't know. I could be wrong, but let's just say it is, right? So this 1 ETH is going from the Nouns DAO executor to our address here and to another one, right? That's it. That's the 1 ETH. And so it's still sitting there, right? And some of those funds, though, flowed onwards, right? And some of those funds flowed onto this OOT2K.ETH address. Now, if someone wants to dig into that on the side, please do spend the time on it. But OOT2K is clearly involved in this project from what I've seen. They're clearly involved with executing a lot of the Nouns DAO stuff. But I'm not exactly 100% convinced that they're really as they're. I'm not convinced they're necessarily a part of the glasses side of things. But we'll dig into that and we'll try to figure that out along the way. Because yesterday when I took a look into it, I wasn't 100% sure. But let's just skip that for now. So we know that there's that one address. It does some stuff. It's clearly involved with the DAO. It was included in like the proposal. It's fine. Okay, so here we have the second signer on that Gnosis multisig, and it's Hekber.eth. Okay, surprise. Was anyone surprised? No, no one was surprised because this was literally the deployer address for the thing. Like, that's boring. And here's the final address on the multisig, right? And this final address is, oh, wow, it's receiving from Hekber, right? It receives from Hekber, right? And it is clearly interacting with the safe, right? Maybe that's the whole point of this thing, is it's interacting with the safe. Oh, right, and it received a social noun. It received a social noun in that same transaction where Hekber was distributing all these singular NFTs out to various different people, right? So we know there's a lot of weird shit going on with Hekber. So let's try to figure out who the fuck this person is. So I was like, who is Hekber? Why do they exist? What are they doing? So what do? I literally do this. I type in Hekber.eth, right? That's what most people would do, right? And this is all you really see. Okay, great. Let's go to the Google. And honestly, I don't know if you guys have this kind of Google, but mine literally will pull up ENS, which is really annoying, but also kind of useful. Because here we can go and look at records and subnames really quickly, just to make sure there's not any other interesting stuff in here. Because sometimes a lot of people who have ENSs, I'm sure you guys, some of you guys are in this live stream who do this, who have a lot of interesting like text actually associated with their ENS domain. So there's not much in there, but that's fine. Let's go ahead and just like start Googling this. We don't see anything. So let's go back to Twitter, right? Okay, so we see the Hekber won social noun number 3 for 0.69. That's pretty effing wild. Like that they pay 16.69 each for that ugly thing. But everyone spends, money their own way, and I definitely have misspent my money. But yeah, it's pretty rough. Yeah, who's that? Adon? Yeah, actually, I would love doing that, but I feel like there are a couple different companies already doing that. Yeah, there are a lot of different companies already doing it. Yeah, I mean, hey, you want to buy that NFT, bro? Talk to Kekper. Kekper would love to sell you this shit. Okay, so we don't see much from Kekper.eth, but what if we remove the .eth, right? And here we actually find out that it's some sort of weird, I don't know, it's not weird. It's a term, it's a WoW term. I want to say that it's like Orcish. I don't know. Did any of you guys play World of Warcraft? Like, will I like out geek myself by talking about this now? I don't know. But it's totally a WoW term. It's like Kek. Kek actually, it's literally like, that's where it came from too. Anyways, it all came from WoW, from Orcish, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, Kekber doesn't really tell us much of anything when we Google this. Okay, so we don't really know what's happening still here. Let's continue delving down, right? Yes, Kekber and the deployer address. I think that the deployer address was Kekber for the multi-sig though. But if you're talking about the deployer address for the project, yes, you're right. For the SocialNouns project. Yep, you're totally right. Control C. So, okay, I want to get into doing some more fun stuff though. I want us to get into fun, slow stuff because we're actually gonna find this stuff very, very quickly. So we're gonna go to BlockSec, and here we'll use the MetaSleuth tool. I like using MetaSleuth more than I do Breadcrumbs or any of the other services out there that anyone can freely buy because it's free. And also I can add as many addresses as I want, and it's gonna be really easy for us. So here, I'm gonna go ahead and copy this one address, and this is our glasses guy. I'm gonna go ahead and add him to the chart, and it will auto start graphing for us, which is gonna be really nice. Okay, so here we have glasses, and I'm actually gonna change, I think, the node color just so that we can keep this straight. So here we see glasses, right? We can see glasses is received from Binance. Uh-oh, it's received from Coinbase, right? And it's also received from that Gnosis proxy, by the way. And we'll add that a little later. And it's interacted with the Nouns DAO, right? So clearly it's been involved with the actual Nouns DAO, right? And it's been involved with Seaport, and it transferred one noun to Chicken Lips. These people, they're like some of the most creative people on the planet. I swear to God, these people are just bizarro. Anyways, so okay, we have glasses.eth, right? Next, let's go ahead and add the whatchamacallit, the Gnosis multisig. Yep, and it's saying, uh-oh, it already exists, right? That's because it is right here, right? And I'm gonna go ahead and color this in pink as well. And so here we can already see there's a connection. Oh, right, they transferred the social, wait, they transferred a social noun to glasses.eth. Did we see that earlier? Because I definitely did not see that earlier, right? I thought we looked at the multi-sig, right? Let's go take a look. And that's why sometimes these graphing tools are quite useful, is because they'll catch out things that you might not have noticed. Oh, right. Okay, so it looks like Kickbur at 166 days ago, so this was definitely, we did not take a look at this yet at all, is he transferred the token 110 directly to glasses.eth. And in fact, actually, let's go ahead and add Kickbur to our graph, right? Let's go ahead and start doing that. Okay, Kekpera is floating out here, so he's not really involved with any of this stuff, or so we think for now, right? So, okay, we've got all of this, right? But that's actually not true. And so here, this is actually a great example of why some blockchain analytics software should not actually be fully trusted. So, and yeah, I'll get off my soapbox in just a second, I swear, but like I feel like I have to like vent this, is a lot of blockchain analytics tools don't know how to deal with more complex smart contract functions. And a complex smart contract function can literally be something as simple as literally this. This might look simple to like a human reading it, but like when they're trying to graph this out in software, like they get confused as all get out, right? Because it's Kekper that's interacting with the Gnosis multisig to then transfer the NFT from the multisig to glasses.eth. And that's too much for it, right? It can't handle it, right? And here, I mean, here Metadog can clearly handle trying to potentially parse this, but it's not even mentioning the multisig at all, right? But here, we're not even seeing that relation between the Gnosis multisig and Keckberg here, even though Keckberg is the one that's initiating all of those transactions from the multisig, right? And so that's where I want to really caution you guys from over-reliance on a lot of these tools and actually looking at Etherscan, because on Etherscan, you'll actually see shit. Okay, now I'm going to get off my soapbox. I've talked too much about this. So, okay. So wait a second. We already know that glasses.eth, right, is clearly related to Keckbur in one way, shape, or form, right? He's received an NFT from him. We also know that glasses.eth, right? Sorry, we also know that Keckbur here is the operator of this guy, which holds, by the way, 13 social nouns. Keckbur here owns 6. So in reality, Keckbur, he probably actually owns 19, right? Which is a 19 social noun. So he could conceivably also easily reach a quorum for himself, which is a lot. And actually, let's go ahead and take a look at Keckbur, because remember, we were gonna dig into him, but we actually quit doing that because we only looked at his ENS handle. What we didn't do was we didn't dig into him on OpenSea. And so let's actually take a look here on OpenSea. We can see all the different social nouns that he holds, right? But we also see there's this other thing that he holds. He holds these other ENS names that we didn't see earlier because we were only curious about Kekber. We didn't actually type in the handle on ENS, right? And let's actually do that here. Or not the handle, we didn't type in the address. But if you see here, you can see all the different freaking ENS domains that he actually holds, right? And so, wait a second, now we see he holds socialnouns.eth, okay? First question that Control C is going to ask is, oh my God, when did he buy that, right? When did he buy this thing? Did he buy this thing pre, right, social nouns even existing? And by the way, here, there he already links it to socialnouns.whatthefuck, right? And so he's already linking all the accounts here. We see there's a lot going on here, right? We see there's also an IPFS record. And by the way, if you want to pull this up, we can see if we can do it. Chances are, though, I'm not going to get anything. Let's try. Let's try using the public gateway and see what we get. Oh, wow. I wonder who owns this one, right? Didn't Kekber transfer one that was very similar to this? But let's dig into that in a second because we want to see when this thing was registered, right? And so let's look at the more information. And here we see it was registered on October 5th. When was this contract deployed, though, right? When was Social Nouns actually deployed? Social Nouns looks like it was deployed in this transaction on October 23rd, 2022. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Because first off, didn't we see that there was a DAO proposal that was put forward and like approved on October 19th? We did, right? So that's kind of weird. Maybe we need to dig into that, right? But more so than that, it seems like, let's go back here, he registered it on October 5th, 2022, right? And then it seems like on October 23rd, 2022, he actually then deployed this contract, meaning that the project wasn't yet fully underway, but Kekber had already registered all these details. So clearly Kekber is behind this project and very actively involved in it, right? So now we've gotten to that conclusion now, right? Which is great. We've gotten to this conclusion without actually having to do much more work. The other thing too is we can see here that this address is, so there are two different types of addresses. There are multiple different types rather with ENS of address holdership. So you could be a manager of an address, but that doesn't necessarily make you the owner. So the owner of the address can decide on who's the manager of the address, who can set different things, right? So here, someone might argue, wait a second, Heidi, Kekber seems like he's just the manager. He's not the full-on owner, right? And we can actually take a look at how this thing was originally registered, right? And we can actually see who registered it. Oh, right, looks like Kekber did. So yeah, it's not much of a question here. And it seems like socialnouns.eth is just maybe some throwaway, I don't know what the hell this is. Maybe this is like, yeah, it's the Nouns DAO executor contract, right? So, okay, fine. That's not very surprising. And then here too, we can dig into the Nouns DAO executor, right? This is the contract that executes various different proposals, et cetera, like we saw previously. We can see who was actually this address that topped them up, right? And I want to say, actually, someone said this earlier in the chat that this probably was popped up via Bybit. And Kekber, too, we already know likes to use Bybit. We've seen that several different times. I haven't called it out, but it's happened on several different occasions where we saw Kekber receiving money from Bybit. So likely, it, like, if anything, Kekber is extremely involved. If not, this is Kekber's project. The next question is, like, is glasses.eth a person or are they Kekber, right? And so that's the next question that we're going to try to have to start answering, right? And so here we see, right, that let's actually go back to this picture here. So this here is the Nouns DAO, right? It's the Nouns DAO or the Social Nouns DAO. It's their profile picture. And one thing I don't think I talked about earlier with Kekper was, well, what social noun does he own? Who actually minted the first social noun, right? Because that might actually tell us a bit um, the about social nouns and who's actually operating it. And so here, if we go to this project, let's go to social noun number 1. And it's owned by Nounlet315. Okay, who's that? I don't know who Nounlet315 is, but I can tell you for sure that we saw Nounlet315 in here. And they're one of the top token holders, right? Nounlet315 owns 7 of these things. Now, as the first minter, like usually when I see mints that happen and I see the first minter, I usually wonder if they're a part of the project because why else did they mint first? It also, especially when it's a project like this where it's a day-by-day bidding type thing. And it could also just be, right? It's a day-by-day bidding war, right? It could be that he bid with several other different people, and we can actually dig into that and take a look. But for some reason, I kind of doubt it. But let's actually let's just have a look. Um, so let's look here. Let's go back actually to here. And I want to take a look at previous bids. Whoa. Okay. Whoa. Okay. Why can't I see bid history for some of these? So here I can actually see a bid taking place. I want to make it clear like what a bid kind of looks like. And I also wanted to pull out this smart contract where the bid is being sent to. So here we can see all the different created bids, and then we're going to go back all the way in time, and we're going to see all the different bids that happen. And so here you can see the contract was created. It was initialized, so it was created on the 23rd, it says here. And this is, by the way, the bidding contract for the NFTs, not the actual NFT contract, right? And so here it was created on the 23rd, 24th, it was initialized, but not really because it fell through. It looks like there was some issue with it, so it didn't go fully, it got kind of reverted, but it was unpaused, transferred ownership. We can take a look at ownership, at initial ownership, but usually when you see a transfer of ownership, let's actually take a look at who ownership is being transferred to, because I don't want to speak too soon. Yeah, okay, so it looks like ownership was transferred from the contract creator to a separate address. And here we can see who the new owner's address is. And this address here, we've already kind of memorized. I don't know if you've memorized it, but I feel like I've seen it once or twice now tonight. And this address is the socialnouns.eth address, right? It's the Nouns DAO executor. We already know this address, right? So yeah, that's reasonable. That happens a lot because you want the Nouns DAO executor to do it because if you're setting up a DAO, you really don't want necessarily individual control over the whole bidding process because the DAO can decide down the line, like, oh, we want to change things up. Okay, so here we can see that there was actually a little bit of a bidding war that happened, right? We can see here Kekber first was the one to bid. Not the Nounlet 315. It was Kekber, right? Kekber bids first, then it's the Nounlet, then it's Kekber, then it's Glasses up in here, right? Then we got Kekber. So these look like potentially 3 different people. That, or it's a guy who may or may not be schizophrenic who's operating 3 separate computers. I don't know what the fuck, like, we're not even 3 separate computers. He could just be using different addresses on MetaMask. I don't know, man. But like, clearly there was a bidding war going on. So actually looking into that first noun holder, social noun holder, isn't that useful. But we kind of get a good understanding as to who the larger players are in this whole space and that they're kind of all intertwined. And in fact, actually, one thing that I did, and I totally clicked this away, didn't I? I definitely clicked away who the top token holders were, but that's okay. We're just going to go back to take a look at the nouns, which are down here. You guys following this, by the way? Does any of this make sense? Am I just like, am I going off on the deep end this time? I hope I'm not. But here, I want to actually copy some of these other guys in here, right? And so, like, I thought, like, okay, let's take a look here and see if they also intertwine with any of this shit. And TLDR is a lot of them do actually interconnect. And so it could just be that they're all friends, right? But it's more likely that they're probably all running the project together and they probably all want to make money together. So here, for example, we see glasses.eth sent to Twilmas pig. And here, this would be something else that I probably would want to look up actually on Etherscan, right? And see who the hell Twilmas pig is and see, okay, do they hold any other, do they hold the ENS stuff? But wait a second, I'm already skipping ahead. Like, and I feel like I've been doing that a little bit tonight, where we skipped over taking a look into who the hell Kekber is, right? Because we keep on finding these rabbit holes, and I like want to go down the rabbit hole, but then I'm like, oh shit, we've got 20 other rabbit holes we already unlocked, right? So Kekber, we see here that Kekber, right, probably the big organizer of all this, clearly the first bid creator, the one who created all these different contracts, the one who created the SocialNouns.eth, ENS, like this guy clearly is involved with this shit. So who is he? And here we see Snounders.eth. So they definitely own Snounders.eth. And we saw earlier, actually, there was some Snounders stuff in there too. So like, that's interesting. But then there's also this Iris app. Does anyone know what Iris app is? And actually, I think we should go on Twitter and take a look at what Iris app is. Oh, wow. That is a picture. So it looks like, I know that Iris was down here. And Iris seems like some sort of social media app, but I'm not exactly sure of what it is. But when I started looking into this, Iris app, I want to say there was like some Bitcoin relation to it. Actually, let's go back here. It's iris.to. So here, it's not something lens related. It's some other social media thing. Like it's 100% a social media thing, but Iris, let's actually go on iris.to and Google it. But they totally have a Twitter, right? I know that they do, but it's some sort of social networking thing. Yep, here it is. Okay, yeah, this is Iris, right? Um, so it looks like Iris is giving a okay, Nostr client, fine, right? But someone actually set up Iris. And that guy was really interesting. I forgot how I found him last night. Is that? I'm going to click on this, Control C. Better not Rickroll me. Yeah, okay. So Iris is just some other social media app, right? And from what I recall, and let's actually dig into this a bit more, what I remember starting to dig into was that Iris was created by a guy who I had found on Twitter, and you can see me doing all these different searches. Um, but let's actually go back to this Twitter. Boo, boo, boo. So here, I think they even talk about Iris stuff down the line as well. So they talk about like Lens. So they definitely are posting on Lens and other stuff. But if I recall correctly, they also talk about Iris all the time as well. And they talk about, oh, let's see down here. Let's actually scroll through here and try to find it. But TLDR, yeah, you can see them posting about Mastodon. In fact, actually, that's one thing. Yep, Iris, yep, SocialNouns hit first 50 users, right? So it looks like they're talking about this stuff, right? Was it this guy? Yeah, it's this guy. This guy. Right. Okay, now I remember all this. This guy is fascinating because he constantly is like liking SocialNouns. In fact, SocialNouns follows him. Let's take a look at more of these tweets. And it was just really bizarre to me. Like this guy, like, and this is, if you're a dev out there and you want to develop a project and you want to stay anon, don't be like liking your shit, right? Like, don't be like all up in your stuff because like it's very obvious then. Um, because I feel like it was the older stuff that was like less liked that you could, yeah, because these are all retweets. Looking through retweets is dumb, but like here, NFTs of the future, right? And you can see who's like talking about it. But anyways, Social Nouns, like he's constantly tweeting at Social Nouns, like and talking about it, right? And he's clearly involved with Iris, right? And didn't we figure out one other thing about Iris? Didn't we find out that glasses.eth right? The glasses.eth owned some sort of iris related thing as well, or was that Nouns DAO, Nouns name service? But we know that Kekber definitely did, right? Because Kekber here, we know owns irismessengers.eth and irisapp.eth. It expires in 2 years, right? And someone might say like, oh, like oh shit, we didn't even have to do any work here. We could have just effing clicked on this, right? This is why we should be doing more research, guys, together. Because here, boom, I can see here immediately that they had a Twitter. They previously had an Iris Twitter message, right? And they also previously had a GitHub. It's not loading anymore though, right? They also had a Discord, right? So clearly they were building something out. But oh wow, it says iris.to, right? And isn't that the same domain that we saw that was linked down here? And that's also the same domain that's linked to our buddy Marty Malmy, right? So, okay, I think we can be pretty confident that, like, if anything, Martin Malmy definitely knows who the hell these people are, right? And let's go to Iris Messengers too. So Iris Messengers doesn't have anything, right? But let's actually look at Snounders. Let's look at all these other ones because it seems to be that Kekber keeps on setting these different ENS domains to actually link to things, which is awesome. Very helpful because usually that's not the case. But here, decidedly with Iris, we know something's going on, right? And here we have this Discord link. Now, today I don't have access to Discord because I can't log into it. It's a long story. But I'm not actually going to go to iris.to. I'm going to copy this, right? And I actually want to see if this is published anywhere else, right? It might be. It might not be, but it might be on Twitter somewhere, right? Okay, so it's not. But if you guys want to try joining this, see where it goes to, I'm kind of curious, right? But I'm just going to go ahead and try to open up the invite. Oh, wow, it opens up to social nouns? Okay, so to reiterate, this is just so tragic. I wasn't expecting that. That's pretty funny, actually. This is like, this is like so lazy. It's almost kind of cute. So, anyways, seems here, Iris, right? Whoever's operating this, Kekber, right? Kekber has Discord set to social nouns, GitHub for Iris. We know that Iris is iris.to, right? And we know that this is all linked to Kekber, right? And Kekber here, like the reason that I think Marty Malmy is such an interesting person to look into is that he's a developer on this. He has been involved with messaging with social nouns. That's huge, right? But we also see that he's a Bitcoin dev from back in the day, right? So like clearly he's into crypto stuff, right? So he's been in the space for a while, right? And in fact, actually one thing we can do is we can start looking through his likes, right? And we can actually see through his likes what he's been liking. And if he's been liking things, oh my God, the Pirate Bay. What a great throwback that is. We can see through his likes what he's been doing, right? And he might not be liking everything, right? And here we can kind of see that he seems like a Bitcoin maxi, right? So that's, I don't know, maybe we're wrong here, but we can also look at replies as well, right? And so going down through this whole thing. Now, in all honesty, the best way to analyze social media, I would generally say is TweetDeck. And I don't know, have you guys ever used TweetDeck before? I don't know if I've used TweetDeck with this account, but we're actually going to set up a new filter today, and we'll like learn about it real quick. So TweetDeck is awesome. Like if I wanted to be like a super Twitter like I don't know, user, I would probably use TweetDeck, but you can set up all sorts of things. You can set up alerts, you can draft tweets, you can do all sorts of stuff, right? But you can also create lists too, and you can create searches. And so I really like it because you can search for various different profiles, right? And so, for example, let's say I want to look at this guy's account and I want to look at any time he talked about social nouns, we can do that with TweetDeck, which is really cool. So here I'm going to save this, or at least the user handle. And this TweetDeck looks really different now, but here I'm going to go in here and I'm going to say include, all of these words, this exact phrase, treats from Martin Melmy, and then what want is social nouns, right? I don't know, do they write it together? Do they not write it together? Let's not, let's do social nouns, right? Okay. Whoa. Let's go ahead and search. Oh, wow. 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 We have it right here that he started social nouns DAO. Case closed. Done. We see it here, right? He said something about I added it last year when we started Social Nouns Now, which has raised 20K to support Iris and other social projects. I have it removed until it's refactored, right? So he's clearly building out something, but he's literally using, he's, he's like clearly stating that he's using the DAO to support himself, building out this other like wannabe, I guess, forecaster, which is pretty wild. I don't know if you got that out of this entire freaking investigation or if you saw that on the webpage, but I certainly don't remember seeing that on the webpage. So yeah, that's interesting. So here we can actually read, right? Read this entire thing. So we can see like here's a window.noster, right? Like, oh, there's Ethereum wallet. This is where he actually mentions it, right? And so here he even says, because remember, he's a Bitcoin maxi. He also says in here, like, I see potential in DAOs and securities tradings on chain versus centralized exchanges. Well, that's really cute, especially coming from someone who appears to be really like to centralize a lot of their funds and appears to be a pretty big bag holder of all this, right? He appears to be basically running this as his own nonprofit where he's partially giving to himself, right? And, he might come back and argue, right? And this is something that we can spend some more time on in another week, is how the DAO is structured and that the DAO could actually vote through changes so that you could have a higher requirement for quorum, right? That probably would be best in order to continue actually going on this way. But as of now, I think we're pretty sure here, right, that there's clearly some weird stuff happening, right? Clearly, this guy is involved with social nouns, right? He doesn't actively say he's Kekfer, but I mean, signs are pointing to it, and he's saying we started social nouns. So, obviously, Kekfer isn't just necessarily one person, right? Glasses.eth probably is someone else, but we definitely know that this guy is clearly involved with all of this. So, yeah. Anyways, I thought I would, yeah, I mean, this whole thing's wild. But and I think here, this gave you guys a little bit of a taste of tracking things on chain, but it's very, very simple. Like we didn't do anything too wild today. Mostly, as you can see with this on-chain tracing stuff, a lot of it's just doing open source intelligence, right? And then it's layering on that blockchain crap. The blockchain crap is easy to learn over time, but it's knowing the different websites to go to, like for example, TweetDeck, because else we would have never effing found this, right? Because I'm sorry, I'm not going to scroll through all his effing tweets and replies. Like that was too much, right? And that's why we can just be really, really lazy here. Anyways, do you guys have any questions? Oh no, I am totally gonna post this like for this guy. I'm gonna tag him in it. In fact, like once we upload this to YouTube or something, because like yeah, I have lots of thoughts about this. And I mean, that's not to say, look, he can just totally come back and say, look, I know it's not what it seems, right? It's actually entirely decentralized, right? He can come back with that. That's great, but we need to actually see the DAO do something, right? So, anyways, I'd be down for doing that. I feel really bad saying that, but yeah, I feel like it'd be fun. Let's go ahead and do it and see what happens. Like, watch the world burn. Worst case, we just pissed off a Bitcoin developer. That's not that bad, right? Anyways, yeah, so that's that. I think yeah, I'm definitely going to share the YouTube channel. I think the YouTube channel, if you just Google RecPilled, like the title of this thing, you should find it. But yeah, I think do you guys have any questions? Because we went a little overtime today, but I feel like it was totally worth it because it was a little wild. It was a little bumpy in there, but we got to something, right? I don't know. Do you guys have anything? If you guys don't, I'm gonna just log off, and I want us all just to be proud that we found this shit today because I was not expecting to find this stuff, by the way. So like I knew that there was like a weird Kekper connection to like some weird like Finnish dude, but I didn't expect to like literally find the smoking gun that he was actually a part of the project. So Yeah. Anyways, I'm glad we had this time together, and then maybe next week, like, definitely write in the Telegram group. And I'm gonna post the Telegram group in here 1 second. Like anything you guys want to talk about, like for next week. Otherwise, what I might actually do is, we might talk about the exploit that went down today, unless there's another exploit that happens, because there's a funny exploit that went down today for, what is it? Unsheth. I don't know how to pronounce it. But anyways, there was a private key compromise, and it is a fascinating exploit because, yeah, uh, the attackers weren't exactly very smart. So, yeah, I'm gonna just leave it at that. And I'm gonna actually try to add you guys to this right now. Let me copy the link. Oh my God, please stop. I'm not gonna go through all this. Honestly, Cardenas, dude, I'm just gonna send you the freaking like YouTube link and you can watch it for hours upon hours upon hours. Um, anyways, yeah, no, my YouTube's not underrated. I'd like it to be underrated because that means no one will ever find it, so no one will call me out for stuff. And that's cool because that means only a few people know about it. I like it that way. Anyways, yeah, feel free to watch any videos. Um, and what attack? Oh, what I was talking about. It's for this. I don't know how to pronounce this project at all. It's a liquid staking. It's a liquid staking derivative e-think. That's all it is, right? But anyways, it was a private key compromise, and the attacker who stole the private keys, which, from the project, the attacker wasn't really smart in covering their tracks. Like, and this is why like doing some blockchain stuff, open source stuff is sometimes super helpful. Anyways, okay, I'm gonna get out of here. But yeah, it was a lot of fun today. I'm glad we came to a conclusion for once and we actually stopped. Um, yeah, yeah, you should definitely read up on the private key compromise. I think they'll probably release more details over time, maybe, about exactly what went down. But if maybe next week, if we don't see any other big compromises, that one will be super fun to talk about. So yeah. Anyways, okay, I'm gonna get out of here, but thank you guys and see ya next week.